Good morning, everyone. Thank you to all the attendees to the National Park Series Part 3 webinar on Yellowstone, Yosemite, and beyond. My name is Jared Kettinger. I'm the Business Development Manager with Amtrak Vacations, and I'm very excited to talk to you folks about all of the national park subjects we're going to go over today. And there I am. I do know I look a little bit young, but I promise you I am of working age. And I've actually been with Amtrak Vacations for going on 5 years now. And I've worked in a myriad of different positions. So do not hesitate to ask me any questions you might have. In fact, there is a questions box right on the side of the GoToWebinar panel. And so at any point in the webinar, feel free to type in your questions. I will take time to answer them at the end of the presentation today. Now, very exciting. One lucky person, one lucky attendant to the webinar will receive a $100 Amtrak vacation gift card. So you will want to stay on right to the end of the presentation because I will be going over that and announcing the gift card winner at the end, as well as stay tuned because there are exclusive discounts for attendees to the webinar today. Now, in addition to the exclusive attendee webinars, there's also a flash sale going on right now with Amtrak Vacations, where if you book a package by this coming Friday, April 6th, and upgrade to either a roomette or a bedroom on the train, you could save $200 to $300 per couple off the package. And so if you did see a package on the presentation that made you excited or really ready to travel by train, please give us a call or call your local travel agent ASAP to book. Now, why book with Amtrak Vacations? Why travel on an Amtrak Vacations trip? Well, there's many reasons. The number one reason, it's a bucket list experience. I can't tell you how many people who have past travel with us said that the number one reason they went on the trip, it was a bucket list experience. They wanted to see the USA or Canada by rail, and they were able to do it with us. Room to roam. Another great reason to travel on Amtrak. You're not confined to your seat. You can get up and walk around the train at your leisure. Go down to the cafe car, the dining car, or my personal favorite, the observation dome. Less hassle. If you saw any kind of package on this presentation or in a brochure or online, and you said, hey, I really like that itinerary, but I want to customize it to fit my own travel needs, that's not a problem at all, folks. You can customize any one of our trips. City to city service, so we can get you traveling from downtown city to downtown city all throughout the USA and Canada. Satisfying your hunger. When you upgrade to a sleeper compartment on the train, whether it's a roomette or a bedroom, a family bedroom, or an ADA sleeper, all the meals are automatically included within the price of the sleeper compartment. And flexibility. We have on the majority of the trains daily travel as well as sometimes multiple times a day travel on the major rail routes. Now, where can I start from? Well, we have over 500 different stations throughout the USA and Canada, and we can customize any trip to depart from your hometown. You might see the names of your hometown listed on this slide today. We can start from the rail trip from over 500 different stations all throughout the USA and Canada. And you can see some examples of that on this slide right here. Now, everywhere you see a colorful squiggly line, that's a route that Amtrak travels along. Everywhere you see a star is where Amtrak Vacations has a package that it goes to, combining the hotel stay with sightseeing, tours, and activities all together. Now, I do want to highlight the fact that the stars are where we have the destinational packages to. Again, there's over 500 different stations to choose from, and so while they're not all highlighted here, there are many options to pick to travel out of. And as I mentioned, there's 500 different stations, and a lot of our travelers will actually choose to fly to the first point on their trip, especially on the long distance routes. So say you're flying to the first point, like say Chicago, taking the train route out to the West Coast and then flying home from San Francisco. That's a very common very common maneuver with our trips is to fly to the first point of departure and fly home from the last point. And look and be amazed by the scenery from the train. Here's the dome car, which does not require any extra money to go to. You don't have to have a reservation. It's first come, first serve. You can go down to the dome car at any point and enjoy the scenery from the train. And as I like to say, skip the traffic, take the train. We know how traffic works. It's never fun. You never want to experience it with the train. There's no one ahead of you and no one behind you, just to make a point there. And you have the freedom to get up and move around. You're not confined to your seat. You can get up and stretch your legs, go down the cafe car, the dining car, and then again, my favorite, as we just featured, the observation dome lounge, and walk around and enjoy the scenery at your leisure. Now, a frequent question is, how do I pack for a train experience? Well, you're allowed 2 carry-ons of up to 50 pounds each and 2 checked bags of up to 50 pounds each, and that's per person. So, and all of that is free. So you can bring up to 4 pieces of luggage per person without any additional cost when traveling on Amtrak. They say a picture's worth 1,000 words. I personally like to think this slide's worth 1,000,000 because clouds look pretty much the same wherever you're flying around. Whereby the train, you can see the Pacific coastline, the great cities of North America, such as Chicago here, the Denver Rocky Mountain Range. All you can see the great mountains, the middle of the country, going through the desert, all from the windows of the trains. It's absolutely beautiful, scenic rides right from the windows of the train. Now we have a bunch of different products, such as the independent rail journeys. Those are the multi-city, multi-destinational stops along the long-distance railroads. We have family adventures, so packages tailored to young families or even grandparents taking the grandkids along for the ride. Rail and sails, so packages that feature the long-distance railroads combined with a Norwegian Alaskan cruise. So imagine taking a train trip from Chicago out to Seattle or Vancouver, or Los Angeles up the coast up to Seattle or Vancouver, and then boarding a Norwegian Alaskan cruise. Rail getaways, so quick 2, 3, 4, maybe more night stays at the major U.S. or Canadian cities at 3, 4, or 5-star level hotels with sightseeing and attractions combined. And then national parks, as is the subject today. We'll definitely be talking about the national parks because we hold space at the national park lodging, and so we can get you staying in the national parks with plenty of sightseeing around the national parks. And I see some questions already coming in. Folks, keep them coming. Send them all in. I'll answer all the questions at the end of the presentation. And the first national park we're going to talk about today is Yellowstone. I'm very excited to talk about Yellowstone. I was just there in September. In fact, it's a beautiful area. It's the first national park that was ever registered in America. And before it was officially titled Yellowstone National Park, it was almost called Wonderland National Park because of the various beautiful geothermal features throughout the park. Now, Yellowstone is largely covered by 2 loops. There's the upper loop and lower loop. So if you can follow the line basically through the middle of the map here, where it says West Yellowstone and then traveling through Canyon and Lake Village, that is one main highway. There's the lower loop, as you can see, that will do Old Faithful, Grant Village, Lake Village, and whatnot, or the upper loop that does Mammoth, Tower, Roosevelt, and Lamar Valley, and Canyon. Those are the lower and upper loops of Yellowstone, and those are the main areas where you're going to be doing tours through Yellowstone National Park. And the Yellowstone bus tours are fully guided. They pick up from the hotels that you'll be staying at, and they'll travel on the lower or upper loop. Now, it's important to note that the majority of the packages travel on the lower loop of Yellowstone because that hits Old Faithful. It hits the Sapphire Pools. It hits the Mud Volcano, the big highlights of Yellowstone. However, if you extend your package to stay at Yellowstone for extra days, you will definitely want to add an upper loop tour so that you can see the areas that are more covered by wildlife in Yellowstone National Park. Now, one such example is America's National Parks, which does Denver for 2 nights with a day trip to Colorado Rocky Mountain National Park. It then takes the California Zephyr out to Grand Junction, which we use as a gateway to Arches and Canyonlands National Park. And then it continues to travel out to Salt Lake City and then a sightseeing guided transfer up into Yellowstone for 2 nights in Yellowstone with a day trip on Yellowstone's lower loop. So this particular tour does 3 national parks all in one. In Denver, you get a sightseeing full day tour of Rocky Mountain National Park. They'll pick you up and take you outside the city, and you'll get to see both the beautiful mountains as well as a stop for multiple mountain nestled towns out near Rocky Mountain National Park. You get to go to Grand Junction, do a sightseeing tour of Arches and Canyonlands National Park. That's a full 12-hour day tour that'll go out to the parks. You'll get to get a full encompassing experience for both Arches and Canyonlands. We'll send you out to Salt Lake City, which we incorporate transfers from Salt Lake City because unfortunately there's no train from Salt Lake up into Yellowstone, but we can get a very scenic, very leisurely, comfortable sightseeing transfer from Salt Lake City up into Yellowstone. And then you'll have a sightseeing tour in Yellowstone National Park of the lower loop. Again, that stops at Old Faithful, the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. Yes, there is a Grand Canyon in Yellowstone, which is this beautiful, giant rushing waterfall into a fast-running river that's cut a giant canyon in Yellowstone, as well as the mud volcano, the Painted Pots Highway, and that is all done on the Yellowstone Lower Loop trip. And that is America's National Park, covering Denver, Colorado Rocky Mountain National Park, Arches and Canyonlands, and Yellowstone all in one package. Now we also have Yellowstone to Yosemite by rail. This does 2 nights in Chicago, going overnight on the California Zephyr out into Salt Lake City, which we use again as the gateway to Yellowstone National Park. So then you'll spend 2 nights in Yellowstone with a lower loop tour, and then continue along the route after another night in Salt Lake City out into San Francisco, using 2 nights in San Francisco, which is a gateway out to Yosemite National Park. In Chicago, we give you a hop-on, hop-off sightseeing tour. That's a fully guided tour that you can get on and off at your leisure. So you can go down to Navy Pier, out to Millennium Park, or the Magnificent Mile for shopping, and get on and off at all of the major areas. In Yellowstone National Park, we give you a sightseeing tour of Yellowstone's lower loop. We also include a sightseeing city tour of Salt Lake City. And then a full day tour out to Yosemite National Park, in which we will take you from downtown San Francisco out across the Golden Gate Bridge and out into Yosemite, where you have plenty of time to catch all the sights. If you want to do a hike, you can do that. If you want to just buy a picnic lunch and just enjoy nature all around you, all of that is an option to you just the same. That is Yellowstone to Yosemite by rail, going from Chicago to Salt Lake, Yellowstone, San Francisco, and Yosemite, all on one trip. And here you can see a good example of the Grand Canyon of Yellowstone. That's the waterfall you're seeing right in front of you with the rushing river that's cut a canyon up in Yellowstone. The next park we're going to talk about a little bit more is Yosemite National Park, which you can see right here, the giant Douglas fir trees, El Capitan Mountain, all featured in the slide here. It's an absolute majestic place to travel to. One such package is Grand National Parks with Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Grand Canyon. This departs out of Chicago, going overnight on the train out to Salt Lake City. using that as a gateway up into Yellowstone National Park. Before going overnight on the California Zephyr, finishing the route out to San Francisco with a day trip out to Yosemite National Park. What I really like is that with these packages, you actually get to stay in the more metropolitan big city of San Francisco, where you get all the great restaurants. You have plenty of hotels to choose from when customizing the package, but you still get a day trip out to Yosemite to experience nature. You'll then take the beautiful Coast Starlight route from San Francisco down to Los Angeles, spending one night in Los Angeles before going overnight to Williams, Arizona, right on historic Route 66, which you use as a gateway to the Grand Canyon for one night in the Grand Canyon before finishing the route out to Chicago. And we incorporate, of course, the sightseeing lower loop of Yellowstone National Park, a full day trip out to Yosemite. And just a fun fact, you have the full round trip from San Francisco out to Yosemite with a full day tour of Yosemite National Park. And on the way back, you actually stop for a scenic picture taking opportunity of an overlook of the Golden Gate Bridge as it's lit up in the evening time. And we get you staying inside the south rim of the Grand Canyon. Now, we do the Grand Canyon Railway to take you into the South Rim and out of the South Rim before and after your night stay there. And we do that in coach accommodations. However, I would highly suggest checking with either an Amtrak vacations consultant or your local travel agent partner to see if they can upgrade you to first class or the observation dome class on the Grand Canyon Railway. It's not too much more to do so. It's a nice upgrade because you'll have refreshments included, much more comfortable seating, and better views from the train. And then when you're staying at the South Rim of the canyon, we include a Freedom Rim tour of the South Rim that stops at many scenic overlook points of the South Rim of the canyon. That is the Grand National Parks, combining Yellowstone, Yosemite, and the Grand Canyon all into one package. And I can kind of give you a little bit of a look here on the map of what you're going to be seeing in Yosemite. There is the Yosemite Visitor Center, a couple of stops such as the Yosemite Valley Lodge and Lower Yosemite Falls, the Half Dome Vista, some of the camps in the area, so you can kind of get an idea right here of what you're going to be seeing along the way when traveling through Yosemite. Another package is Rocky Mountains to Yosemite. This does 2 nights in Denver, going through the California Zephyr out to Salt Lake City for 2 nights in Salt Lake, and then finishing going overnight out into San Francisco with a day trip out to Yosemite National Park. This incorporates the sightseeing tour of Colorado Rocky Mountain National Park, as well as a full day tour in Salt Lake City. And then finalizing with 2 nights in San Francisco with a day tour to Yosemite National Park as well. And that is Rocky Mountains to Yosemite, another example of a multiple national park tour that we can do. And then one of my favorites, Peaks to Pacific. This is a little bit of a different version of the Grand National Parks. This does Denver with Colorado Rocky Mountain National Park, Yellowstone, and San Francisco with Yosemite. So this is an alternative version for you. So again, you have 2 nights in Denver with a sightseeing tour out to Rocky Mountain National Park. You'll have a sightseeing lower loop tour during the 2 nights up in Yellowstone National Park. And then a day trip of Yosemite by way of San Francisco when you do the 2 nights in Yosemite. And that is the Peaks to Pacific journey with 2 nights in Denver, 2 nights in Yellowstone, 2 nights Salt Lake, and 2 nights in San Francisco with a day trip out to Yosemite. Now, if you wanted to do just one trip, we have the Yellowstone National Park Getaway that does 2 nights accommodations in Salt Lake, 2 nights in Yellowstone with a sightseeing lower loop tour of Yellowstone and round trip transfers in Salt Lake City. And we can do that by way of your local hometown. So we can add the train to get you out to Salt Lake and Yellowstone and back. Or a similar trip out to Arches and Canyonlands, doing 2 nights in Grand Junction with a sightseeing tour of Arches and Canyonlands National Park. And again, we can absolutely incorporate train from your hometown to get out there. Now let's talk a few minutes about the onboard accommodations on Amtrak. And I see a couple of questions have already come through, so I'll make sure to answer all the questions as soon as the presentation is over. Please send them in. And there's a couple of different levels, whether it be the coach accommodations, whether it be the bedroom or roomette accommodations on the train. The first level of which is the coach, which during the day has just 2 seats that recline at a 45-degree angle. You can do that at night and get some rest there as well. There's a leg rest that'll pop up, a tray table that'll fold down, plenty of room above head for your luggage, and there is no middle seats on board Amtrak as to highlight, so it's just an aisle seat and a window seat, and there's outlets to charge your devices in, and plenty of legroom. We actually kind of refer to the coach accommodations on the train basically as even bigger than the first or business class accommodations on an airline. Now, if you want to upgrade to your own sleeper accommodations, the first level of which is the roomette, which is your own cabin with the door that'll slide shut. You have windows with blinds that'll close if you want to get a nap during the day or have your own privacy. There's 2 big plush seats, a nice big picture window for viewing. At night, everything folds down to bunk sleeping accommodations. Now, folks, don't let that intimidate you. While it is a bunk style sleeping, it's actually only one step up from the floor to the top bunk, so you don't have to worry about that. It's a very easy transition. Now, as you can see, there is no bathroom in the room itself. This is true. The bathrooms for the roomettes are down the hall. There's 4 bathrooms to the roomette car, and they can only be used by those staying in that section of the roomettes. It's not like anybody in coach can go in and use them. And there is a car attendant that will constantly go and clean them. They're also there helpful to tell you what scenery is coming by, when dinner is. All of that is included with the roomette. Now, if you want to make sure you had your own private bathroom in the room itself, the next level up is the deluxe bedroom, which has a long couch, a reclining chair, a big picture window for viewing, a tray table that you can see will fold down, and it's still bunk style sleeping accommodations, but it does have its own private bathroom and shower in the room itself for only your usage. And then the next thing to highlight is the sightseeing dome car, where the windows go all the way up to the roof. It again is first come, first serve. It doesn't cost anything. You can go down to the sightseeing dome at your leisure. Now, what's nice is if you've upgraded to a roomette or bedroom, then you have automatically priority boarding onto the train. And so if I was you, I would upgrade to a roomette or bedroom, drop your luggage in your room, and then hightail it down to the sightseeing car as soon as you get on the train, because it does get packed quite quickly. People always want to go down there. And dining on the train is included. And the dining on the train is phenomenal. The meals are always fresh, cooked to order. And we like to call it our rolling restaurant because there's a full menu to choose from. The food is phenomenal. For breakfast, you can get eggs, bacon, and toast, a fresh omelet cooked to order, or if you're a kid or a kid at heart, the quote-unquote choo-choo French toast. For lunch, you could always get a nice juicy cheeseburger or a salad with some grilled salmon or grilled chicken included. Or for dinner, there's always a pasta option, a special of the evening, or the Amtrak signature steak, which, fun fact, does pair nicely with a glass of Merlot. And you're always going to want to save room for dessert, because dessert is included with both lunch and dinner when you upgrade to a roomette or bedroom on the train. Now, how to book. You've seen some great packages. You might get excited. You want to book with us. Well, you could always call us at 1-800-268-7252. You could visit our website at amtrakvacations.com, or call or visit your local travel agent that you're most comfortable booking with. And we all like going on vacations, but we also always want to try and save a couple of pennies if possible. Well, there's some everyday discounts, such as the senior discount. For anyone aged 65 or older, you automatically save 10% off the rail portion of the train. Children aged 2 to 12 will receive half off, 50% off the rail portion of the train package. And then any active military personnel, their spouses and dependents will receive 10% off the rail portion of an Amtrak package. And there's an exclusive attendee discount. So if you call us and book by April 18th on a package and upgrade to a sleeper compartment, whether it be a roomette, a bedroom, a family bedroom, ADA accessible room, you can save $50 off per person, $100 off per couple, and that is with the promo code BEYOND100. Again, call and book by April 18th on a package and upgrade to a roomette, bedroom, family bedroom, ADA accessible room, whatever room it may be, a sleeping accommodation on the train. You can save $50 off per person, $100 off per couple, and that is the promo code BEYOND100. And there is a downloadable um, uh, brochure type thing about the national parks. You can download that flyer. It's right off on the webinar panel, so you can definitely take that if you want to. And then one more highlight, the flash sale, where if you book by this coming Friday on a package and upgrade to a roomette, you can save $200 per couple, or a bedroom where you can save $300 per couple on any of the packages that you've seen here, you see on our website, in a brochure, whatever it may be. So I want to now say thank you to all for joining us. Again, if you did want to book and we have that wonderful flash sale, in fact, I'm going to go back one slide after saying you can call to book at 1-800-268-7252 or call your local travel agent. In fact, for the Q&A, I'm going to go back one slide and highlight the fact that we're going on a flash sale right up until this Friday. I'm going to leave this up on your screen, and I'm going to answer any questions that you might have at this point. Please feel free to type them in right now. We've already seen a couple come in, and I'll be happy to answer them now for you. All right. We have someone that asked about the luggage on the train. So as you see, there was a couple of different destinations featured on some of our independent rails journeys today, whether it was Denver or Salt Lake City or Yellowstone or San Francisco. You'll see that there was a couple of different features that you're going to get on and off the train. Well, the luggage is going to be tagged between point A and point B. So someone was asking about, say, if I was traveling between Denver to Salt Lake City to San Francisco, will the luggage be handled through to my destinations? Yes. It'll be handled long distance between the different stations. However, you will have to take them on and off the train depending on which location you get on and off at. Because if you're getting off in, say, Salt Lake City after having traveled from Denver, you're going to want to bring the luggage with you. Now, at each of the stations, there is luggage and red cap service at the major stations. It's a completely free service. All you have to do is tell your Amtrak Vacations travel consultant or your local travel agent that's booking your trip that you want to add that to the reservation. Again, it's completely free, but I would highly suggest tipping the young guys for their services. But the luggage will get on and off with you at the various stations. How many dome cars are on each train? One dome car. One dome car to each train. We did have somebody ask that. Now, again, it's important to highlight the fact that if you upgrade to a roomette or a bedroom, you have priority boarding onto the train before everybody else. So you can then drop your luggage in your room and hightail it down to the dome car where you can get your seat before anyone else and enjoy the scenery right from the train. Someone asked about how many restrooms are there for coach. Well, there is at least one restroom for each coach car, and there's multiple coach cars. So you'll have at least one restroom for each coach car on the train. Someone asked about what is the approximate upgrade to a bedroom? Okay, folks. So the earliest you book the trip is the cheapest you can get it. What I mean is, if you know when you want to travel, you know where you want to travel, and you have the Amtrak vacations number or the number for your local travel agent, call or visit them or call us ASAP, because the prices can vary wildly for each of the sleeper compartments. I've seen a roomette be $50 additional from Coach, and that included the meals. I've seen it be $1,000 difference. I've seen a bedroom be $200 difference from Coach. I've seen it be $3,000 difference. It's 100% upon availability. So you want to call Amtrak Vacations Consultants ASAP or visit your local travel agent to book ASAP. So someone asked, do the seats in the in the dome car rather, turn over regularly, or do people kind of tend to hog the seats? Well, I've seen both. I've traveled on multiple train routes, and I've seen people go and sit there for 5 to 10 to 20 minutes, and then get up and go back to their car or their coach seat. I've personally, and I don't mean to offend anybody, I've sat in the dome car seat for 5 hours at a time, looking out the window and reading a book. Again, very much encourage you to upgrade to a sleeper compartment for priority boarding onto the train, because then you can go and claim your seat in the dome car. Now, it's not a permanent claim. If you get up and go, back to your room for 20 minutes and somebody else grabs the seat, that's just how the cookie crumbles. However, I highly encourage upgrading, especially with the flash sale right now, upgrading to a roomette or bedroom on the train, because that gives you automatic priority boarding. You can drop your luggage in your room, go down to the observation dome, and get a seat, and you can stay there as long as you want. They do not basically throw you out of your seat in the observation dome. We have someone asking, is the discount for someone that's ADA accessible the same as the senior rate? Yes, it is. And also if you have a companion traveling with you, they also get the same rate as well. We had a very good question on how do we plan for transportation from, say, the station, say it's downtown Denver and my Denver hotel, or downtown San Francisco and my San Francisco hotel on the train from the train stations. Well, most of the train stations, the local cab companies know when the train is coming into the area, and so they'll float out outside, or whether it's Uber or Lyft. So you will have to get yourself in transport from the downtown station to your hotel or the various destinations in the city. But when you're coming in on the train, most local cab or transport companies know that the train's going to come in on time, or even they'll be even there ahead of schedule, and they'll be able to transport from the station to the hotel. And someone asked, hey, if I have upgraded to a roomette or a bedroom on the train, is there a special lounge area in the stations that say, hey, I get there a little bit early that I can hang out in? Yes. Such major stations such as Chicago, Boston, Seattle, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, rather, Seattle, Portland, they have what's called the Metropolitan Lounge, where if you've upgraded to a roomette or bedroom and you get to the station a little bit early, or if you're traveling between station to station and you have a layover and you want to hang out there, there are Metropolitan Lounges at many of the major stations that you have access to if you've upgraded to a roomette or bedroom on the train. Someone asked, hey, I want to start looking at 2019 for my vacation schedule. Well, we have many of our 2019 packages almost ready to go right up live on the website. We actually have a handful of 2019 packages already on there. And over the next few months, we're going to be uploading our 2019 packages for next year onto our website so you can book ahead of time. In fact, Amtrak can book 11 months out on the train schedule. So we have pricing, availability, and schedule times 11 months out for Amtrak. So somebody asked, I was traveling on a train and the dome car closed at night. Is that a normal thing? Yes. Once it gets really late in the evening, such as, I've been in the dome car right up until basically around midnight. Around midnight, they do tend to close some of the stations down, or some of the areas on the train down, because the train car attendants are heading to bed. The security personnel are heading to bed. So such as areas such as the dome car do shut down after a certain period, but that's just, a normal thing. I mean, once it hits midnight, people are heading to sleep, and so, things start shutting down on the train. Someone asked if, say, I have a layover or my train doesn't depart until the evening, will the hotel that I'm staying at prior to that hold my luggage? Yes. The majority of the hotels are very good with their services. If, say, you're staying a couple of nights and your train doesn't depart until 5 o'clock in the evening to head west out to San Francisco, and you're staying in Denver, then don't worry about it. Yes, I would just suggest staying, uh, keeping your luggage at the hotel you stayed at for the previous nights. Usually they will hold your luggage without too much of a difficulty. Someone asked, hey, these packages look great, and I see that there's a flash sale, and I want to save $200 to $300 off per couple. If I book today, is there any restriction on when I travel? No. You As long as you book today or by Friday for travel this year or next year, depending on where there is availability, you can save $200 to $300 off. Now, I'm going to give you all a little bit of a secret that's between you and me and the wall here, that if you quote and book today on a package that includes a roomette or a bedroom, you can actually save an additional $50. So you can actually save between $250 to $350 off per couple when quoting and booking a trip today. And that is because we have a special quick booking discount where if you call an Amtrak Vacations consultant or book with your local travel agent for an Amtrak vacation trip the same day you quote it before this coming Friday, you can save $50 additional off. So again, highlight, if you call and book today, you can save $250 to $350 off per couple when upgrading to a roomette or bedroom. Someone asked, I want a brochure. How do I get a brochure? You can just easily call. There's the number right there on the screen, 1-800-268-7252. That'll get your Amtrak Vacations consultant that can send a brochure locally to you. They'll send it right out automatically. It'll only take a week to 7 days. Someone asked about Wi-Fi on the train. Wi-Fi is available on certain trains. Unfortunately, there isn't like a TV or like a radio station for Amtrak just yet, but if you type in enough, maybe that's something we can request. But Wi-Fi is available on some trains. However, when we're going through the deepest forests or the mountain ranges or the deserts, the Wi-Fi isn't 100% always there, but there is Wi-Fi on many of the trains. Someone asked about Amtrak points. So if you're an Amtrak point holder, unfortunately, we can't use the points to book our trips. However, if you do have a rewards number and you wanted to book a trip with us, we can help you earn points off of our packages. So all you would have to do is just mention when booking with your Amtrak Vacations consultant or your local AAA or your local travel agent that you're booking with that you have a rewards point number. We can add that to your reservation and help you earn points. And you can add the points number to the package when booking the flash sale. Again, you won't be able to use the points, but you can help earn the points off of any package you book with the flash sale today or by this coming Friday. And someone asked if, hey, I book a trip and I actually find out a couple weeks down the road that I have a family party, a nephew's graduating, we had a medical situation going on. If I book a trip, can I rebook it for a different date? Yes, you can. We have a whole team that if, say, you book a trip and then suddenly realize that you can't travel on the date you originally scheduled yourself, we can always rebook a trip later. There may be some kind of fees or cost to that, depending if the price has gone down or the prices are different. But you don't have to worry, folks. We can always rebook a trip if after you book initially, you find out that that travel date is not the best travel date for you. And sometimes we can even waive those change fees for the changing from one date to another. So somebody asked, how do I go about scheduling or how do I go about registering for Amtrak points? You would have to go on their website or call Amtrak directly. Amtrak Vacations cannot sign you up for a rewards point program. Unfortunately, you do have to go on their website or call Amtrak directly. But if you do have a rewards point number, even if you've already booked through Amtrak Vacations and you get a new rewards point number, feel free to give us a call and tell us that number. We can add it to your reservation. And so it looks like that was the end of the questions today, unless we have any others. But just to highlight again, if you call and book by this coming Friday, an upgrade from a package to a sleeper accommodation on the train, whether it be a roomette or a bedroom, you can save $200 to $300 per couple. And if you book and quote on a quick booking discount the same day, you can save an additional $50 per couple on the reservation. So you can actually save up to $250 to $350 off per couple by booking and quoting the same day. So I highly encourage that. Folks, I want to thank you for hanging on the presentation today. And I'm very excited to announce the lucky gift card winner for hanging on the presentation today. And that is Barbara Pinchek. So Barbara, thank you for signing on today. Congratulations to you. You will be the lucky $100 recipient to get the Amtrak Vacations $100 gift card. And we had a couple of last-minute questions come through, so I'm happy to answer them. Can you get a toilet and shower in any room? That is only in the deluxe bedroom. So the bathroom and shower is in the deluxe bedroom. There is a bathroom in the ADA room, but that is in the deluxe and ADA room. The rest of the bathrooms and showers are down the hall. And can we book and board trains at some of the smaller platform stations? Yes, there's over 500 different stations to choose from all throughout the USA and Canada, over 500 different stations. And again, Barbara, congratulations with the $100 Amtrak Vacations gift card. We will be emailing you about that shortly. And I want to thank everybody for signing on to the presentation today. Someone did ask one last question. Are deluxe bedrooms on all trains? They're on the majority of the trains, the long distance trains. Some of the local trains or the commuter trains, such as the Northeast Regional between New York and Providence, Rhode Island, or New York and Boston, those are just day trips, so they don't need the sleeper compartments on the train. But on the long distance overnight trains, yes, the deluxe bedrooms are available. So thank you, folks. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thank you for joining us.